Sir, one nation, one election has come to a center stage of discussion. What's your opinion on this, sir?
Yes, Navneet. One nation, one election came up for discussion in the March month because the chairman of the high level committee for simultaneous election, Sri Ramnath Govind, that is the former president of India, submitted the high level committee report on simultaneous election to the present president of India, Draupadi Murmu. That submission brought one nation, one election as a concept and a discussion in the month of March. After that, you did not find any of those discussion. But suddenly you see one nation, one election after 100 days of the present Modi government has again come for center stage of discussion. The reason is cabinet has accepted the recommendation of the high level committee on simultaneous elections. It is very important. We have to understand who are the members of the high level committee. In high level committee that has been formed on simultaneous election had Home Minister Amit Shah, former leader of the opposition Rajya Sabha Ghulam Nabi Azad, former Finance Commission Chairperson N.K. Singh, former Lok Sabha Secretary General Subhash C. Kashyap, senior advocate Harish Salve, and former Chief Vigilance Commissioner Sanjay Kothari. All these members were there to examine the possibility of one nation, one election. Navneet, this concept of one nation, one election is not new to India. In fact, when Constituent Assembly was there way back in 1949 and 50, who actually worked on Constitution of India, immediately when the elections were conducted in 1950s, it was one nation, one election. Subsequently, there were mismatch of the election process in the country because of two reasons primarily. One national party was there, that is Congress was there, and they were contesting election across the country, and three provinces were there, and subsequently states were divided based on the linguistic lines as per the recommendation of the S.K. Dar committee and as per the JVP committee, that is Jawaharlal Nehru, Vallabhbhai Patel and Pattabhi Sitaramayya, who actually spoke about only for provinces, but later after that linguistic model of state division happened. And first state to be divided was Andhra Pradesh on the linguistic lines. When this was there, election started happening in respective states along with the general election, that is MP election, MLA election used to happen simultaneously. But after 1960s, there was a mismatch between the MP election and MLA election, primarily because regional parties started emerging. And the first state to be renamed was Madras to Tamil Nadu was Tamil Nadu, and in Tamil Nadu, under the leadership of the great scholar Arinjan Anna, the government was formed in 1968 being a regional party. Subsequently, when the regional parties emerged in the respective location, and when there is a difference between the state election and the central election, none of the states took efforts to align with the general election, that is MP election. So there were mismatches in the election process. Suddenly now, in the month of March 2024, when the high level committee came up, they came up with the recommendation of one nation, one election. And this one nation, one election is an election mandate decision of Bharatiya Janata Party always. Just the way their election mandate is Uniform Civil Code, just the way they have the election, they had an election mandate of proposal as abrogation of 370. This one nation, one election is also an election mandate of the Bharatiya Janata Party.
Sir, apart from BJP, does PM Modi has a personal interest in it?
Definitely, Navneet, the Honorable Prime Minister Sri Narendra Modi has a personal interest on this matter. For a single reason, anybody who is in power would like to sustain their power. That's nothing wrong. Because any party which comes to power, any person who comes to power would like to sustain his power. But there are also advantages beyond the self-interest of the BJP. What are the advantages? You can see those advantages like election funding, election costs getting reduced, efficiency in the bureaucracy because more number of officers were involved. Workers, officers, even political parties were finding it difficult to campaign. Even funds for the political party were required for campaigning for two times. One for the MP election, other for the state assembly election, and even third for the panchayat and municipality. So three levels of elections were happening. And when this is going to be merged as an idea, definitely it is going to benefit all the political party. But some of the political party are opposing, some of the political parties are accepting. But whoever is supporting, they could be in alliance of NDA or they are friends of BJP, and whoever is opposing would be those people who are not in power and who is an opposition party of the BJP. So that's a present situation. But definitely, Prime Minister Modi wanted to bring one nation, one election for easing the election process, but for ensuring it is also advantage situation for him personally to sustain the power in the government. So, the idea of one nation, one election is not just the idea of the BJP. Even Congress implemented one nation, one election after the Constitution of India came into existence. In fact, under Article 324 of the Constitution of India, Election Commission is mandated to perform the work for the election, and it is a permanent body. It is not formed during the time of election and subsequently it doesn't exist. It is always there as a body to conduct the election as per Article 324 of the Constitution of India. So considering it, this high-level committee has proposed an important change in the Constitution of India, where they wanted to bring Article 82A as an insertion in the Constitution of India, so that in the initial time, let's assume they wanted to have an appointed date. Let's assume the appointed date is June 2024 when the new government came into existence. From that time, it is 5 years. Beyond 2029, no state election and no general election, that is the MP election, will happen at a different point of time. Rather, from 2029 onwards, the term is fixed, that is 5 years. And election also will happen simultaneously from 2029. For example, in some state assembly or even in parliament, if there is a hung parliament or no confidence motion is passed, then that party in power in the government will lose their power, and even if the general elections are conducted again, then only can remain in power for 2 more years or 3 more years. For the party which is coming to power with a clear majority, they may not have challenges. But the party which is forming the government in the coalition model will always have a threat of no confidence motion or a hung government. So accordingly, it is a disadvantage situation for the party who is not aiming to be having a majority or who cannot form the government with a majority members. So accordingly, who is opposing one nation, one election? Both the national parties, where there is one national party in power in a respective state and the other national party who is opposing them in the national level. For example, BJP versus Congress states, where Congress is opposing. BJP versus regional party, there regional parties are opposing. Where regional party versus regional party is in power, or regional party versus regional party combinations there in respective states, then those states are not affected by the one nation, one election. For example, take for example Tamil Nadu. Tamil Nadu is a state where either DMK or ADMK has been coming to power for decades. So here, ideally, the challenge is only between the regional party. There is no national party versus regional party concept here, because national party has to make an inroads here. So accordingly, from the perspective of opposition also, as of now, DMK and ADMK are remaining neutral on this matter. And even TDP has not expressed their opinion on one nation, one election, being a alliance partner of BJP. Definitely, BJP wants to bring one nation, one election, and for which the constitutional amendment has to be brought in. The insertion is Article 82A of the Constitution of India.
So can this BJP government able to pass this amendment in Lok Sabha and Rajya Sabha?
If you see, Navneet, Article 82A is a proposal provided by the high-level committee to be introduced in the Constitution of India. This requires constitutional amendment. What does 82A say? Firstly, 82A recommends for conducting MP elections and ML elections together. Subsequently, secondly, conducting within 100 days local body elections, that is municipality and panchayat elections, after 100 days of conducting of MP elections and ML election. Accordingly, 2 proposals are provided in 82A. And 82A, when they are going to insert, they want an appointed date and cut-off date. Appointed date and cut-off date. Appointed date, let's assume June 2024. Cut-off date will eventually be 2029. So on 2029, they wanted to conduct simultaneous election. From that date, 100 days, they want to conduct local body elections also. Take for example Karnataka, the local body elections are yet to happen. So what you should have understood is to bring constitutional amendment. To insert new article, Article 82A, you have to have a special majority. Special majority where? In the lower house, that is Lok Sabha, that is the representatives of the people, and upper house, Rajya Sabha, representative of the state. So here we need to have a special majority. When I say special majority, 2/3 of Lok Sabha, 2/3 of Rajya Sabha, present and voting. Very important. Present and voting. That is the special majority required for introducing any new article as part of the constitution. Accordingly, if you see the numbers, BJP lacks the number in Lok Sabha with the NDA alliance and friendly partners in Lok Sabha. But India bloc has a strong presence of opposition in Lok Sabha. But the question here is, when one nation, one election, constitutional amendment bill is going to be passed in parliament, the India bloc has to uniformly be present to oppose the bill that is going to be proposed by the BJP. And accordingly, the question is whether India bloc members will be present to debate about constitutional amendment bill. Definitely they will be present, because this is a very important matter, because Congress and people who are opposing, they are saying that it is going to affect the federalism. That is point number one. Point number two, in case of Rajya Sabha, there are favorable members in support of the BJP and NDA and BJP friends. So accordingly, Rajya Sabha should not be a challenge. But the question is whether the bill will go through Lok Sabha, that is lower house of the parliament, whether it will go through Rajya Sabha, upper house of the parliament, is the next challenge for bringing one nation, one election. If you see, Navneet, it is very important to look at Article 83 of the Constitution of India. And it is also important to look at Article 172 of the Constitution of India. If you see Article 83, it talks about duration of houses of parliament. If you see Article 172 in Constitution of India, it deals with duration of state legislature. The duration here has to be aligned. Navneet, the duration, for example, if the appointed date of one nation, one election is June 2024, as we can see, that could be the appointed date. Maybe if the bill is going to be passed, then cut-off date will eventually happen in 2029 along with Lok Sabha election. The question here is, take for example states like Tamil Nadu, where the elections of the state assembly will happen in 2026. If the election happened in 2026, ideally they would have been in power up to 2031, because 2026 to 2031. But whereas, because of one nation, one election, the elections of the state assembly will get advanced by 1 year, at least by 1 year or 1.5 years, because one nation, one election comes in. So 82A that is going to be inserted as part of the Constitution of India will bridge between Article 83 of the Constitution of India, Article 172 of the Constitution of India, duration of the houses of the parliament, duration of the house of the legislature, which is 5 years. Accordingly, this amendment has to cater or enable bridging Article 82 of the Constitution of India along with Article 172 of the Constitution of India. So this 82A that is being planned as an amendment in the Constitution is a very, very significant amendment to bridge Article 83 and 172 of the Constitution of India. We have to wait and watch how the debates are going to happen, who are the parliamentarians who are going to oppose, what Mr. Mallikarjuna Kharge is going to oppose on one nation, one election, because he's been opposing it. We have to see what is the opposing points of OIC on the idea of one nation, one election that the BJP is trying to bring in the forthcoming parliamentary session that's going to happen. So this is a very interesting time, because BJP also lacks majority in Lok Sabha, considering the fact that they have formed the government with the support of Honorable Chief Minister of Andhra Pradesh, Chandrababu Naidu, and also Mr. Nitish Kumar, the Chief Minister of Bihar. So we have to wait and watch how this is going to have twists and turns. And we are also waiting for many of the regional parties to express their opinion with respect to one nation, one election. In Tamil Nadu, at least, we have to see what is the stand of DMK with respect to one nation, one election. So we are all excited to see this debate happening in the parliament. I'm very sure many of the law students who are watching this program, many of the law aspirants and people who are interested in law who are watching this discussion that we had will definitely enlighten about the ideas that could be brought in the parliament in the days to come. I'm sure that we have to wait and watch and see what changes are going to happen in the parliament now.
So those who are opposing it says that this is against democracy and federalism. Is it against democracy or federalism?
Yes, Navneet, that's a good question. Because when people actually oppose one nation, one election, the word that they use is one nation, one election is against federalism. And if you see Constitution as such, Constitution always is center inclined. Constitution has both features, unitary feature as well as federal feature. In fact, it is part of the basic structure of the Constitution of India. as provided in Keshavananda Bharati versus State of Kerala and even in Minerva Mills case. But the fact of the matter is, even though both the features, that is unitary feature and federal feature, is part of the basic structure of the Constitution of India, but people, when they oppose one nation, one election, they say it will affect the federal feature. How does it affect a federal feature is the question that is put forth for the debate in the parliament. It is just not, you should refer a word called federalism. You should in fact debate and discuss how federalism is getting affected because of one nation, one election, how financial powers will get affected because of one nation, one election, how state lists will get affected because of one nation, one election, how when a matter in a concurrent list will get affected because of one nation, one election. You just can't say it affects the federalism. It may affect a regional party. Affecting a regional party is not affecting federalism of the Constitution of India. Affecting a national party power is not the intention of the federalism. The federal structure as such is established to see to that policy of the union, policy of the state government is beneficial for the public. So conducting one nation, one election, whether it affects federalism is the debate that we have to see in the parliament. So people who are going to talk about federalism, I want to see what articles are they referring as part of the constitution while they are going to debate in the parliament on the points of opposition. I also want to see how BJP and their supporters going to defend saying how one nation and one election is not going to affect the federalism. Navneet, Bharat Ratna Baba Sahib Dr. B.R. Ambedkar and founding fathers of the constitution, when they brought Constitution of India, if you see as per Article 1, 2 and 3, their idea is union of states. In fact, Article 1 says India, that is Bharat, is union of states. And federalism is the core idea of the founding fathers of the Constitution of India, including Bharat Ratna Baba Sahib Dr. B.R. Ambedkar. When that is the idea, core idea is federalism, and now one nation, one election, when it has come for the center stage of discussion, people who are in support of one nation, one election, if they are trying to bring unitary feature over the election, then when the people who are going to oppose it, when they are going to show hands on the federalism of the country, then they have to debate in the parliament showing how federalism is affected. So we have to wait and watch technically to see in the parliament how they are going to speak from the perspective of federalism. I am eager to see how these debates are going to happen in the parliament, Navneet.
Thank you for your valuable time, sir.
Thank you, Navneet.